Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another edition of It's Okay with Tam Tam. Um, Before we get started, want to say please like this page on Facebook, follow our page on Facebook, also subscribe to our YouTube channel, It's Okay with Tam Tam. Share this with many people as you possibly can because you never know who this can help. So today we're going to be talking about getting out of a toxic relationship. So I have two of the four guests because two of them are unfortunately sick, so they will not be joining us this evening. So we are having let me change this view. There we go. We're gonna have Miss Erin and Miss Shashu with us today, talking about getting out of a toxic relationship. Good evening, ladies,
Good evening.
Hello.
and happy Women's Day. It's actually Women's Month, right?
Well, Women's History Month. Yes.
Yeah.
Women's History Month, but there was something about today. What is it? International Women's Day?
Yeah.
hmm
Okay, I need to do better with knowing what's going what's going on. So just to let you know, Aaron, Ashley, and Jennifer are both sick. So I think Ashley is in the bed asleep. I told Jennifer to go to sleep, but she said she's gonna try to watch. But she was struggling on the phone. So that's because she's working 50 jobs.
Mm.
So anyway, and excuse me, I am extremely tired. We went out of town this weekend for a music college audition for my daughter, and the baby um would not sleep at all. She would not sleep. So she was not in her bed, so she would not sleep. So anyway, let's get into it. So we're talking about getting out of a toxic relationship. So um I'll just start off with saying I was in a toxic relationship. This was before my marriage, so the marriage was not the toxic relationship. Um even though we did argue, but I was in a toxic relationship, I would say for about a year with a gentleman, and then we'll get into more of it. But I was in my early 20s. How about you, Sashu?
Again, last week we were on the show and we were talking about, divorce and whatnot. So this was not the marriage. But this was like the relationship before I got engaged, married, and all that. And that went on for, I'm going to say about 2 years.
2 years.
Approximately. Yeah, it was approximately 2 years.
How about you, Erin?
Um, so my toxic relationship actually spanned a total of 20 years.
And it was toxic the
So,
whole time?
huh?
It was toxic the whole time? Okay.
Yeah.
That
So
the
this was actually a high school sweetheart.
marriage.
That was on and off. It was on and off before my marriage. After my marriage, we tried again. Um, but the toxicity level was ridiculous by the third time, which was this last time. So it spanned a total of 20 years on and off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And it got worse as time went on, I assume.
Yeah, it did. Um, yeah. And he fed off of my desire to fix, to try and make things right, and try and, I don't want to say change, but I was trying to attempt to make you a better person or show you a better way, like, and he fed off of that. He
Do
was
you think did you experience that too, Shashu? Where they were feeding off a kind of because because I remember Jennifer, although she's not here, I remember her talking about something like that where it just seems like common, especially the good woman, they accept the problems and they're trying to fix it.
If I think for me, I don't know if I'm saying the same thing as Aaron, but it was more by kindness. Like I just, I was delusional in the fact of thinking that if if I do this, if I say this, like, and I was listening to everything the person was saying, but the actions were not there. So it was just my kindness. I just wanted it to work. I wanted it to work because I really did care about the person a lot. So, but I was a little delusional.
Understand. What in the relationship made it toxic?
The lies.
This is for both of you guys.
The person was not honest. The person did come to me and was honest about the fact that he had previously had a little drug problem, but now he didn't have it. It was more like, because I've seen this before, those people in my family, um, you're a functional drug addict.
Mm.
So when he told me that, then I'm like, okay, well then shouldn't you be changing your environment, changing who you hang with? But the person's like, yeah, I'm gonna change that, it'll be fine. But then I became like addicted to searching and looking, and then I found something. It didn't add up. And then I just still cared about the person, and my friends had to try to have like a little intervention with me, and I was so unhappy because I was paranoid because I was thinking the person was going to change, but then they really weren't changing. And then they just kept lying to me. And then it just got so bad. I just felt so dark and just like, what is happening? And I'm just going to be real. And some people know this story, but one day I knew this person lied about something. I said, let me give them the opportunity. I'm going to ask the question. I asked the question. The person lied. Let me ask one more time. They lied again. I swung on him straight up. And that's not even me. I'm not even me. But for me, a person that's just usually chill vibes, I just can't stand. I feel like that's insulting my intelligence. I'm actually asking because I already know the answer, and it was in front of my sister and brother-in-law, and they were so shocked that I did that. And I knew
I
then.
would be shocked too. Like
I knew then. No, this is not normal. Like for me to feel like this, be like you can't be with somebody you don't trust. You can't trust them as far as you could throw them. Make it make sense. So I remember that day around that time. I remember I just one more incident happened. I just walked out, and that was it. I was like, when I walked out, I was like, that's it, bro. Like, there's nothing you could say. I don't care about no apologies. Don't contact me. I'm not interested in what you have to say. I was done
Mm-hmm.
because that's not. You can't live like that.
right.
Sheshu, it's funny that you said that because when I tell you, when I realized I had to leave and I could not go back, I slapped holy fire out that man. Now,
And we are not condoning the audience.
and that's
We're
that's
We're
the
not
thing,
condoning violence.
no,
But
and
that was your
I
breaking
am
point.
completely against
that was
putting as a woman. For a woman, you cannot expect to put your hands on a man. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, no matter which way it is. But I do not condone it at all. But at that moment, I knew because the fire in my soul was so hot. I'll tell you what it was. And here's a story time.
Want to hear it? Here it go.
Here it goes. Let's go have a drink. Meet me at this bar. Okay, let me drop the kids off. I ain't had a day out in a while. Drop the kids off. Calling you. You there? I'm on my way. No answer. Okay, you done already told me where you were. I'm on my way. I get there. When I walk in, there's him. He's talking to someone. There's this woman. And she's sitting at the bar, real nice and cute, She gets up, she goes to the bathroom, but in my head, I'm like, they're together. I sit down. He's like, oh, hey. I'm like, hey, I'm calling you. What's up? Oh, I ain't got my phone on me. It's in the car. Gives me some money to buy some drinks. Something told me to leave that seat next to him open. I sit there, I'm waiting on my drink, and she sits down. Hi, how are you? We had a few words. I said, your name is so-and-so, isn't it? She goes, yeah. I don't know what happened, but I blacked out.
Oh no.
Because it had been
That means
time
you
and
were in the
time
fire.
again. And I went upside his head. Now, I had to think about it. And that next day I said, you know what, Aaron, this is not it.
Right.
First of all, that's not okay.
It's not acceptable.
It's not okay. But the fact that you're able to be taken to
that was your
that
breaking
point,
point.
I was like, because it's
Yeah,
not
That
like
was your break. It pulled you so far out of your character.
exactly that. I
Like,
was like,
yeah.
and then I had to think
No.
about it like, I'm in a public place, put my hands on somebody. I got children at home. And I wasn't within nowhere near my house. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't be going to jail out here. This is not it. And on top of that, I was already in a super dark place because of everything else that we were going through within the relationship. I had to go. You know, the narcissism, the disrespect and disregard. Like I said, he fed off of my energy. Like his darkness literally sucked my light out and left me for dead. That's literally what it felt like. I couldn't stay.
Yeah. I think for me, I was in a relationship, and so when we met, everything was cool and dandy, and his family like welcomed me with open arms. But then it was like stuff started to escalate and stuff was not adding up. So he was working and he lost his job. And I'm like, oh, okay, he lost his job. We're going to get through this. We had just moved in together. I would not, after that, said I'm not living with another guy till we get married. But anyway, they had just moved in together. So we was in this apartment, and then he lost his job and he wanted me to sell my car so he could start this business. I said, well, why can't you sell your car? And I was like, no, but that's not happening. So he got like heated, like hard down, like mad, like rage mad. And I'm like, you want me to give him my possessions? Okay. You know, you cool off, whatever. Then I started noticing his behavior with his mom. Like his mom was his pride and joy. His mom and his grandmother was his pride and joy. But he started like, I remember I was coming up to, rode up to a cookout. They were having a cookout. And by the time I got up there, him and his mom was like, he was in his face about to hit his mom. Somebody had to come and hold him back. And I'm like, this is his pride and joy. His mother and his grandmother are his pride and joy. Because his daddy was not, his daddy had a drug problem. So his daddy wasn't really in his life. His daddy was on the streets. So he gave everything to his grandmother, his mother and grandmother. And for you to act like that with her, like, I'm not on that pedestal. So I was like, okay, that's a bit much, but you know, maybe it's an off day. I was making excuses. Maybe it's an off day. Well, maybe this. So then he was like, I don't want to stay in this apartment anymore. We can get us another place and pay the same amount, but we have more space. But I'm like, why are we gonna do all that? But anyway, we end up moving. But it was like a big old like mess because we had to break a lease and all this kind of stuff. But what took the cake was he started walking the streets at night with a weapon. And I'm like, why are you doing this at night? And he hang out with his friend who was a known drug addict under the street. I'm like, why are you doing that? And then he got in my face. I don't know what happened. I don't even know didn't know we was in an argument till he got in his face like he was going to hit me. And I was like, I I was living in a different city. I was living in a different part of town. I wasn't nowhere near my parents. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? My supervisor, thank God for her, she was like, look, load up your car, take whatever you can get, write a resignation letter now, backdate it 2 weeks. I'll say I forgot to give it to them and go home. She's like, leave, go home. Because just go. And I remember bawling and crying and driving home. So all I could put was the stuff in my car, which I had a whole apartment, like furniture and everything, but I just, whatever I could get in my car, that's what I just left with. And I was like, I'll just have to figure it out later. And I went home and that was it. And then when I got to my parents' house, I got time to sit back and think. And I was like, why am I making excuses? Why am I making excuses to cover for them when I'm putting myself at the potential risk of getting beat down or whatever? Like, you're walking the streets at night and you're hanging around drug dealers, I'm not drug dealers, drug abusers that are living on the streets. So, it's just why? And it's just, as I start processing this, and I'm like, I deserve better. Like, and then the fact that he could have potentially hit me if he couldn't treat his mother like that. He's not gonna have, if he's disrespecting his mother like that blatantly in the street. I really thought we was on Jerry Springer because it was people holding everybody. It was just a big old mess. I was like, this is not right. Like, he if he's gonna do that to her, he will beat me down and not think twice about it. So
let me ask you, do you think that like there was maybe drugs and alcohol that affected that individual's like way of thinking or anything like that?
I think drugs might have been involved, but I think he had some deep rooted issues and hurt because his father had an issue. I'm sure at this point I was thinking that he was doing something too, because I mean, you usually hang around people that do the same thing you do. So if you hang around people that are known drug abuse, you're probably doing that now too. But I remember when I came back to the house, I came back with my parents and a U-Haul truck to get my stuff, and his mom came because he had my weapon. Had my weapon roaming the street, so I had to take the weapon, take it to his mom so I can get home and get situated. So she was bringing it back, and he was yelling and going off and saying that we told his mom, when you're pregnant with me, you should have had an abortion. Like, he had totally like snapped. Like, he was like, he was at his breaking point for whatever he had going on, his deep rooted issues. Like, I mean, I hope he got it taken care of, but I think drugs and some other issues that he hasn't dealt with all played a role in that.
Yeah. So I asked that because I think in my situation with the particular individual, I know that there was alcohol that played a part. I know that I feel like there was some type of depression or something, like, had to be, there was definitely childhood trauma that was never dealt with, that I knew about only because we knew each other at 14. But I know that there's definitely some issues that were never dealt with. It was a whole lot, all in one melting pot, that I hate to say made that individual, but just made the situation toxic. Because I don't necessarily like to put it on the individual as if they're a bad person or they're the bad guy, because there's so many other factors in play. But there were so many things that made the situation toxic, and I think more so amplified the issues. Like I say, it was the alcohol, the trauma, the sadness and depression that would come at the drop of a dime.
Which could stem from alcohol and then with Shashu's person and my person, drug abuse. And unfortunately, a lot of times in the Black community, we don't get help when we need help. Or even like with our kids, if they need help, we give them help that we think is appropriate, but it's not enough. Because I know, like, a lot of times, especially when they're going to a lot of churches, just pray about it. And some things I feel like you can't just pray away. You pray, but you got to go get help. Like you got to get counseling. You gotta you gotta like when you can. If someone is, I'm not saying that this happened to any of the guys or whatever, but if someone is molested or raped or like they have been, physically or mentally abused, like you just can't pray that away. And then if someone has a mental chemical imbalance, like you just can't pray that way. Like there has to be in addition to that. And unfortunately, I think with all three of the situations, the gentleman, especially I can speak especially to the one and I'm talking about for the guy that I was with, it was obvious that it was some issues that weren't dealt with, because for him to say stuff that you should have just had an abortion for me, like you don't even want to live at this point, like you don't even value your own life. So it's sad, and I'm hoping that he got help somewhere in there, but I don't know. I know that I got scared when I saw him and his mother interaction. So
I think for me, so like I said, it went on for like 2 years, and then I got to my breaking point. Then my therapist, that is when I started going to therapy. Back in like 2010, she was very helpful. She was like, I explained everything. She was like, because I guess a friend probably told me about my job, having this, you can go in and tell exactly what kind of therapy you need. So this one was like one that had to do with that know about like drugs and things like that. So she recommended actually Codependence Anonymous support groups, because I know last week I talked about divorce care support groups. And before divorce care, I went to Codependence Anonymous, and that's what made me know that support groups are very beneficial. So I went to the group. Like, like my dad actually, my dad actually is a recovering drug addict. So I've been to the AA meeting before, the past and all that. So, it was like all weird. I was kind of angry because I'm like, why do I need to go to something talking about, hi, my name is this, and all of this stuff? Like I'm the one on the drug. But I'll tell you this, when I look back, it began every time. Like, you don't have to talk if you don't want to. You can listen. I was listening to people. There were a lot of different situations in there. Then I did start to speak. But when I first started to speak, I remember just being so angry, and everything was about him. Then finally, the more I used to go, the attention started coming off of him, because I was learning that, hey, wait a minute, time out. Why am I picking people like this? Why am I attracting people like this? Why am I allowing people like this in my life? So in addition to the support groups and my therapist, I start realizing, hey, I mean, they make you really start thinking like, when I was 5 years old, this happened or this happened. So it totally stopped being about him. I forgot all about him after a while, because I start recognizing my issues, my problems, my insecurities, my codependency, and killing myself to try to please people. For what? Not taking care of myself, then getting mad at the people who I'm trying to kill myself to please, when they're not even necessarily requesting it. It's something in me that I need to people please. So I learned so much from that situation. It was phenomenal. So that's how that turned out.
I never really even, thought about it like that, when you're picking the wrong person, and it's really, which, kind of, Aaron, you kind of hinted on it, like it's not them that being a bad person, but to think about, why I chose this person to be with, we chose each other, but
And
why
why
am
we
I accepting it?
choosing these people?
Yeah, and why am I accepting it? Like, why is it okay? Like me, like, why am I continuously giving excuses for this person's behavior? And like to make it seem like it's okay. Oh, they're having a bad day. Oh, and it's really not. Like, so I never even heard of a codependency group. First of all,
Oh, it is. It was an eye opener. It really started to shift my mindset, make me be more aware. And even now, not that I haven't made any mistakes since then when it comes to relationships, but even now looking back, it, thinking of some of the principles, just thinking of, just reminding myself, hey, time out when I see myself going away that I should not be going, just remembering, hey, think about what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Why are you, going towards that person? Sometimes you want attention. It's not, just because somebody's giving you attention is not the right attention. It's not the right environment. I could just feel now when things are toxic and I'm more vocal. Back then, I had no voice. I used to be scared to say how I feel. I would bottle things up. That's probably why I was so just dreary and like sad and upset, because I was scared. Like, if I say this, then he'll get mad. And then I just got to the point where I didn't care because why am I going to sacrifice my happiness for someone that's a dishonest person?
But
Why?
you were already at your breaking point by that point.
When I started going, I guess I started going to Codependence Anonymous. Like, it was after, like, let's say we broke up, like summer 2010. And she told me about it, and I just dove into that. I was like, I was going there like twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week, and I was going to the therapist like once or twice a week. I just needed what I needed. As time went along, I could decrease it, but at that time, I needed to, that was my healing. Speaking out, doing the work, listening to others, getting a different perspective. So that I dove into that.
So your counselor was the one that referred you to the codependency group?
Yes.
Okay. So basically it started with the counselor. Okay.
Yep.
Aaron, how did you get through, like, after your breaking point? Because for all of us, after you have your breaking point, there's some healing that has to happen. When you had your breaking point, what was?
So, like, I've never had therapy or anything like that. And I'm not against it. I'm completely for it. But I have a person, and she's a friend. We've been friends since high school, but we have this kind of connection. And she saw me. Well, first of all, the whole situation happened. I want to say it was like August or September-ish of 2019. Yeah, 2019. And from March of 2019 to that September when the whole blow up happened, I think everybody around me could kind of see this shadow or this cloud. Like, I was trying to show a good face, but they knew that there was something dark around. And my person is like a best friend, a sister, and we work together. And this one particular time, I had a room that I did hair in, and I closed my door for several days when I was doing hair. Like, normally I leave my door open, but I closed it. I needed just to be closed off. And one day she came in and she gave me a hug, and I broke down. And she's like, sis, I don't know what you're going through. And when you're ready to tell me, I know that you will, but I need you to let that shit go. I knew I needed to let it go. But from September to December, I cried every single day from sun up to sundown. What I also did was I prayed and I meditated every single day. I always had a positive word in my ear. I had to. I didn't know what else to do. And I had got to the point to where I was telling my kids, like, mommy is going to pray. I need you to stay out of my room. If you need something, knock on the door. But other than that, I need you to leave me alone. And eventually they kind of understood. Mommy is going through something. She's praying, she's meditating, she's journaling. Just leave her be. And I did that for a couple months. And December 30th, I said, I'm not taking this into the new year. Like, I meant it. And I did, I don't even know how long I was praying, because at that point I fell asleep. I was praying so long, so hard. I was exhausted. I fell asleep. 31st, I woke up and I was like, this is the time. We're not taking it in. So I had some letters, I had some journal sheets. Going into the new year, I set everything on fire. And when I woke up on the 1st, I felt completely free. And it sounds weird when I say it, but I did not have that cloud over me anymore. I did not have that shadow following me. I did not have that sad spirit. And from that moment on, I was like, I'm done. I'm free. I'm moving on. But it was prayer, journaling, meditation, and being able to have a conversation with my person. Like I call her because I can cry on her shoulder. She can cry on mine. And we're not like super close, but we are each other's person. I mean, when she's going through something, I got her. She don't even have to say a word sometimes. I know when she's going through something, and vice versa with me. But those 4 things, the prayer, meditation, journaling, and my person, that's what got me through. Without that, I don't know where I'd be. Because honestly, y'all, if y'all would have saw me 2-3 years ago, like, I am so not the woman that I am right now. Like, I mean, I was not the woman that I am right now at all. I mean, I was
Aaron, I have a question. I know last show you were saying this fellow, and you said it today too, you guys got back together after your divorce. But I know your divorce, you were just like, I'm done with it. But do you think that you being in that dark place, was it like a combo? Did you ever think about the other person in that situation? And it's like, did anything combine? Like, or was it just that situation that had you like that? Reflecting on anything, like from the divorce and stuff?
So for me, because like I say, he's somebody that I was dealing with from the time I was 13, 14. So from 14 to 18, we were going back and forth, and I always wanted it to work. I know it can work, but a situation happened to where he ended up having a child, and we ended up breaking up. He had a child when I was 18. I think they were like 19 or whatever. And it sent me into a deep, dark place. Now, I will tell you that I have, and I hate to say struggle, but I've always had slightly moments of darkness. I'll say it that way. I've never been abused. I've never had any type of abuse or anything like that you would think would send someone into a dark place. But I've always felt super different. I've always felt misunderstood. I've always felt like I did not fit in within crowds or my family, or, I've always kind of had those struggles. So I think the deterioration of that relationship, as well as some other issues, and then my father not being around. I wanted this man. I did not realize until right before I got married, I had counseling and I had to talk over those father issues. I did not realize that a part of me being involved in certain relationships was stemming from issues with my father not being around as well. Not wanting to lose a man because I felt like I've lost my father, and I didn't want to lose another man that I loved. But at 18, I did not realize that those were some of the issues that I was dealing with. Um, when we got back together, the second time, 23, there was financial issues. There was, I think financial issues was the only thing that I was dealing with at that time. And then he came along, and then it just amplified everything. This last time, I really wasn't going through anything. When he showed up, I was actually in a nice headspace. And it's funny because my sister was like, I had told her, like, I think we're going to try it again. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, do you not remember like where you were mentally the last time? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm good now. Like if I feel myself going into a deep dark hole and he really hasn't changed, I'll get out. But before I could even get myself together to get out, I was already in that hole, and I had no idea how to, like, there was no way for me to climb out at that moment. I felt like, so I don't think it was like a combo.
So it had nothing to do with. Okay, just wondering.
No.
Why do you think you kept going back?
Well, a part of it was the trying to make something work. Not just trying to make it work, but like I say, I felt like I could help.
Fix them.
I could fix. I could, exactly. And funny thing is, I know that I do hit a sweet spot somewhere with him. Even now, I know that. But I did not understand early on that I can't fix someone if they're not trying to fix themselves.
If they don't think anything is wrong.
If they, that part too.
You don't recognize that there's a problem.
And like I saw
that goes
this,
along that mentality, like codependency and just trying to be so helpful. But if somebody, like you said, they don't want help, they don't think there's a problem, you're just talking to your blue in the face, killing. Like I feel like I was killing myself trying to help and suggest. And what I learned too at therapy is don't give no advice if somebody asks you for advice. We like to give advice, then nobody asks you for it. That part.
Yeah. That part.
That was a heavy one. I was like, wow. Even now, as a teacher, sometimes that student just needs me to listen. And I'm just so used to being like, well, this and suggestions and solutions. Everything don't have to be a solution. Sometimes somebody just wants you to listen. And that, it was like, whoa, that was a hard one for me. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jennifer.
I was going to say, it's just funny how things work. So, back, I don't know, somewhere after my divorce, my friend was helping me to write a book. Because, all these people are saying you need to write a book. Again, I am not no author. Like, I always paint myself.
You're a reading teacher. Aren't you a reading teacher?
I'm a reading teacher, but
still though, that's like, it's not like a math teacher.
But the problem is like, I just, like, always would say, I am just a teacher. Like, I never see certain things in myself that people see in me. So people were literally saying, like in 2015, stuff about writing a book, and I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Remember my dad said it. I'm like, alrighty then. Then finally, I snapped out of it. And since, like I said, after the divorce, a lot of good things happened because I start to see things in myself that people saw in me. So, which is, okay, you know what? I am going to start writing this book. My friend, she's written a children's book, actually. Her and I would meet. Then I fell off from it because I was doing a lot of other things. Now I've gotten back into it heavy since 2020. She's been helping me. And prayerfully, I'll have it done by the end of this year. But it's funny. By us having this discussion, as we're having this discussion, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to add a section in about this fellow, that dark time, because our life is a timeline. Like all these different things, when you really think about it, they do intertwine. Like the decisions you make, the things you do. So I'm just like, I want to say thank you to you guys, and I'm gonna be texting my friend tonight and letting her know. I just like these revelations that keep happening. Like, wow, this needs to be in the book. So thank you. Thank you for the content. Like, oh, that's crazy. This is so therapeutic. This stuff is very helpful.
I'm hoping, yeah, people like again see this and realize, like, there are solutions to problems, to situations, and you're not alone. Somebody else has been there. And so just even as we're talking, I feel like it's similar. We're in different situations. There are different toxic, situations that we've been in, but they're somewhat similar. And then it's like, it seems like our reaction or what we were putting into the relationship is similar. Like, we're trying to help this person, which I figured, mine lost his job. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, we're going to get through this together because I'm going to be that helpful girlfriend. As
That's how it's supposed to be, but at what, like, it's just different levels to it. It's like, yes, you are supposed to be there for the person. They're supposed to be there for you. But if
not to the point where they're tearing you down.
Right. Like, ain't nothing being solved. Like, it's not worth it.
And I see it so much, just in women, well, I can't say women because it happens to men too.
Oh yeah.
Where it's one-sided. One person is like giving their all and they're trying to help this person get out of whatever situation where it is, where whatever situation they got going on, and this other person then is like trying to help, and this other person really is like not even trying to help themselves.
But to be honest, what I realized too is it goes back to what is someone's intentions. Even now, like the dating scene and stuff, people, what I've learned is people sometimes say all the things that they'll find out what you like, not saying that they're trying to do it. I don't know if it's intentional, but then you say all the things you like, then they do all the things that you like. But at the end of the day, some people's intentions is not pure. It's not, it doesn't align with what you're trying to do. And to be honest with you, looking back, I said this last week too, I had realized I was very immature as well. Like, even though I was a certain age, I was not mature when it came to like relationships, or you see things on TV, you hear what people say, and I don't know. I think I just was very immature, and very like unrealistic with some things. So that's all of this stuff is like a learning lesson. You take from it and you try to learn. But like I said, it's hard if you don't really know what people's intentions are. You really got to scratch the surface. That's what I tell people. Someone seems amazing and that's awesome, but you need to take time because you need to see, like you said, before you get to moving in and all of that, you need to see, who is this person? How are they in different situations? Like you said, oh, your mom and your grandma supposed to be top of the line on pedestal, but you treating them like dirt. That doesn't align. You really gotta observe, take that time, because we rush a lot. And we talked about that last week. Relationships, it feels so good. And we rush into things too fast. And then not really, that's a red flag. It's a whole bunch of red flags you don't want to see because it feels good. Because I'm going to be honest, it does feel good to finally meet someone who you get along with, you can sit and laugh with. Because these things really don't come along often. So when you do, you want to hold on to that. Like Aaron, you have history with the man. There's a history. I've known him. It's easier. He knows me. I know him. He knows all my history. Rather than meeting this new person, they don't know me. Sometimes you want, but relationships are hard. All kind of relationships are hard because it's work.
I think also we become delusional. I think I said this last week. We're delusional as,
Yeah, I use that word. I was delusional.
We're delusional as an expectation of, I'm going into this relationship and this is how it's going to be. And it's really not. And you do have to look at things that are happening and around you and things like that. And you do have to take the time. Like, I'm watching, you guys ever watch the show 90 Day Fiance?
Absolutely.
She said absolutely.
You watch all those kind of shows.
They're so
Aaron's like,
delusional. What? What'd you say?
yes.
They're so delusional, and it's scary, and it's like they're seeing all these red flags about like why they should not be together. And it's like, I mean, like, it's not like a waving a red flag, like the flag is being beat across their face, and they're just,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking about Married at First Sight. Wrong show, but I watched 90 Day Fiance too. All of those. I was like, well, wait a minute. They wanted to get married. But it's true. It's like so ridiculous. Like,
and it's like delusional. I think they're coming in with this preconceived idea of, thanks for watching, Linda. This preconceived idea of this is how marriage is supposed to be. And like you say, marriage is work. Because like even when you want to be, you've been through stuff and you want to be secluded, you have another person that you're constantly having to think about. You have to constantly work on the marriage. Like you can't it's not you go to work, you work. Anything you do in life, you work at it. So a marriage is not different. You got to work at it. So I'm watching this 90 Day Fiance, and I'm seeing like nobody speaks English. I mean, one person speaks English, the other one doesn't speak the other person's language. It's like, well, how in the world are you going to communicate when you got two people in the same country that speak the same language and can't communicate? How do you think you're going to communicate and you guys don't even speak the same language? And then it's like the expectations of, one girl, she wants to get breast implants and stuff, and the guy, he's just,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like,
new one.
well, and she tells him, I don't love you. And he's like, well, I'm just trying to see. She said she don't love you. Like,
yeah, you've spent all this money. You've sent her all this money. Come on, bro.
But it's like at this point, like you should be happy. She's telling you before you got married, she don't love you. Let's end it. Let's move on. Most of the time we know from the beginning. Yep, that is not gonna work. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So it's just I see some similarities of us of trying to go above and beyond to make things work, and it's a one-sided situation.
You got to be aware. You got to be like, one key to growth in all of this is you need to be aware of your thought process, your shortcomings, what you want. There's so many aspects.
I think that's the biggest thing, is knowing what you want out of the relationship and seeing if it's reasonable, and meeting with someone that you mesh with, that you can get what you need. I should say what you need, because the things like as I'm going through as I've gone through relationships before my marriage, I realized something that I need is important. Like I need my time. Like I need my time. Like I need you to give me some time.
Everybody needs to have their own life.
Right. But no, I don't mean like just my personal
time. Like just hanging out. I mean, you need to rejuvenate.
No, I mean like I need my time with my spouse. Like I need my away time
together. Yeah.
Yes, I need that quality time together. I need my away time too, but I need my quality time with them, like uninterrupted. Like I need my time, and that's very important to me. And it's very important for them to have a good relationship with their mother and their children. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't realize that coming, going into the first marriage or just previous relationships. I went through relationships realizing after that, I realized that's what I need. So you can love somebody, but if they can't give you some things that you need, and you can't give them what they need, it's not going to work. It's only going to last for so long, to the point where it's just like, okay, well, you guys aren't on the same page.
But that's what I mean by, okay, someone just doing something because they heard, there's a fine line. Just doing something that you absolutely hate just because you're trying to get me to be yours, and then just completely, not wanting to do it at all, and because relationships, you sacrifice, you balance each other out. You do want to, you're not going to always do the things you enjoy, but there's a difference between something you just know you would have never done. You just did it to get me.
Right.
Hello.
Because you're going to have to continue that.
Right.
Like
same energy.
Yeah, you can't just go into a relationship. Okay, I'm gonna do this to get her. Okay, now you got me. Like, understand, like, we supposed to be married for a lifetime. Like, I'm not trying to be married for a week or two. We could just been in a relationship. Like, that's not how it works. So you have to be able to figure out what you can do to continue on the relationship. And you will have rocky times. Like, you got to be able to go through those rocky times together, because life happens. There's just life. I swear, me and my husband have been through more stuff in our 5 years of marriage than most people have been in their lifetime of marriage. We have been through like everything. But fortunately, we had a solid enough relationship that it made us grow closer. My previous marriage, we couldn't even make it through, a baby. And that was that. And then the toxic relationship, God knows, we wasn't even going through it. Oh, we went through a job loss. So, but it's just, you gotta know. So, let's get ready to close out. So before we do that, Aaron, tell me advice that you would give somebody who may be who may be in a toxic relationship or just coming out of a toxic relationship.
Okay. Let's see. If you are in it, I think, well, before I even ask that, or before I answer that, what do you feel like the definition of toxic is? Just curious.
For me, or are you asking like
For you?
Everybody? So I feel like a toxic relationship is any kind of relationship, whether it's parent or child or whatever, that tears you down emotionally, physically tears you down, then it's a toxic relationship.
Okay. See, I think of things like very visual. So for me, I think of it like a cancer. Like visually, I see it as like a cancer, like it's eating
a growth
away
and it's
at
sucking you
healthy
dry.
tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's visually. Okay. So I was just curious because I didn't think that we quite talked about like what you would consider like a true toxic relationship in your,
That's true. Which we didn't. We should have. We could. We still can. We still can.
I mean, I was just curious. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me, one, don't lose sight of yourself. If that relationship is making you feel down, it's making you feel sad, it's making you feel dark, that is not it. I feel like relationships are supposed to, I don't want to say make you feel happy, but it's supposed to be a compliment to you. It's supposed to complement your good feel. I mean, there's going to be good and bad, don't get me wrong, but relationships should not make you feel dragged through the dirt. You need to put your feelings, your emotions like first. If it does not make you feel good, you need to get out. If you feel like it is eating at your happiness like a cancer, if you feel like, I call my toxic relationship or the individual, I feel like he was an energy leech. Like he literally sucked the energy right out of me. If that is how you're feeling, you need to get out and find you a person, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a counselor, whether it is a life coach, whether it is a friend or, a family member. Like find a person like to where you can talk to them. You can, kind of talk over those emotions. And sometimes you do need to talk to someone to get enough strength to leave. Because I think with toxic relationships, a lot of times we don't want to leave for various reasons. It's hard for us to leave. And I'm not sure, like for anybody else.
Especially when we're thinking and hoping that we can help them, make them better.
Yep. Like you always think like, okay, next week he'll do better. Or next week, this will be a change and I'll be able to get through to them and then things will be better. And yeah, I'm not going to say it never does, but rarely. So, like definitely like don't stay and find your person. That would be 2 pieces of advice.
What about you, Sasha?
Well, just, reflecting and looking back, when you're in it, hopefully you have some honest people around you, like, that care about you, that will try to talk to you like my friends did. But sometimes you're hard headed. But like Aaron said, if you're feeling like that, yeah, we know there's going to be arguments in a relationship. There are going to be disagreements. That's different than feeling depressed because whatever's going on. So mine is definitely not only just blaming the person. I'm sorry, but we have to look in the mirror when it comes to not your part, not like not saying that because nobody's perfect, but I'm more talking about the fact of if you have a pattern, why, where, find out, like, and that can be through therapy, um, so that you can discontinue this pattern. Because I had a pattern, notice. Um, I highly recommend support groups. I said that already. That has like helped me because I think why I like support groups is because it lets me know, number one, that I'm not the only one going through this. Because yes, although I might have my friends and family to talk to, just like with the divorce, if they had not been through one, some of the advice I was getting, they meant well, but I know how I was feeling and I know where I was at. And being around people that have similar things that they were going through, it's refreshing. For me, I know everybody's different, but for me, the support groups that I've been in have actually been supportive and have helped me leaps and bounds. So if you've never, and some people I've talked to, because people have come to me and just, males and females, just ask for advice and stuff. And I'm like, give it a try. I know you don't have, like I said, they're so worried about, like, you don't have to talk, but you got to try different things. You can't just not do anything. You're not going to get any better. So my main one I would say is check out. Then there's support groups for everything. If the things that we're talking about today are not the issue that you have, find there's support groups. You can Google everything. But I wanted to say that was a good question about what is toxic because I'm like, oh, what is I just think when I hear the word toxic, I just think bad, bad. It's awful. It's dark. It's trash.
I
So
only ask that because everybody always says like a toxic relationship or a toxic individual. But what is your definition of toxic?
Right.
And it could be different for multiple people. For me, I feel like someone that literally is sucking my happiness, sucking my life. Like they literally are like a cancer. Like you're eating away at my good and you're turning it dark and it's starting to decay and you're toxic.
Yeah. I think of toxic, I think of like a negative relationship, a negative person. And I'm more like a positive person. I'm not, I'm realistic. I know you're gonna have, every minute is not perfect, but I cannot deal with like somebody that every time you come up with a solution, they come up with a problem. I'm confused. Like I can't do it. Anything that's like is draining. When I think of toxic, I think of draining. And when I think of that, I don't want that around me because there's already enough going on in the world that's draining. I don't need somebody that's supposed to be close to me draining me. So thank you.
Yeah. I think my advice would be is be willing to accept that you can't control someone else's behavior.
That's good.
That's one thing I'm trying to teach my daughter, she's always hoping for this outcome from this. I said, you cannot, the only behavior you can control is your behavior. So accept that you cannot control someone else's behavior. Someone behaves the way they behave because that's the way they want to behave. Whether they need to get some counseling or whatever it is, that's their behavior. You can't change that. And also to like get whatever help you can get. I think a lot of people internalize. They don't go get counseling. They don't have friends that they talk to. They keep stuff bottled in. So be comfortable to do and be willing to talk to other people because someone might have advice that can help you out, or someone might have gone through exactly what you're going through and they will never know until, because a lot of people keep that stuff hidden, that they're going through this stuff with this toxic relationship or whatever they're going through, they keep it hidden so nobody knows and they can't get the help, and be willing to get help. So whatever it is, Aaron, you had your friend and then you did your meditation. You did basically you did all the stuff the counselor will tell you to do: meditation, journaling. Half of that they're gonna tell you to do anyway. And you had your friend, so you had somebody to talk to. And Shashu had the codependency group and the counseling, which I find the groups I would have never thought of. And I think that's a great way for someone that's like me and obviously like you, where when you see someone else is going through the same thing, it kind of I mean, it doesn't make you happy, but it gives you a
you know you're not crazy, like
right.
You just
And then
just thinking about it, and you just think it's just you, and it makes you feel. Well, it made me feel even worse.
Yeah.
You, oh my God, look at all these people that, you know how social media, everybody's like, no, happy every second, and it's like, oh, okay, well, and I want to say that control thing. It's funny because I say to my students, I got to the point because I used to think I could control, but I got to the point where it's like I say to them literally, I probably said it today. Listen, such and such, self-control. I can't control you. I can't control you. You know what you should be doing, and I know for some people it's harder. But at the end of the day, I can't control you. Yep. Only you can control yourself. And they like, and I say that, they're like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So I though that would be my advice. Be willing to accept help, and whether it's like I say, the counseling or someone learning to do meditation, because meditation, deep breathing, that's not something you just pick up like that. That's a skill that takes a long, and that's another thing that people don't realize. Like counseling, deep breathing, all this stuff, nothing happens overnight.
There's a lot of strategies. No, I said there's a lot of strategies.
Yeah, but this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Like people think like, okay, if I do this one time, I'm gonna be fixed. No, that's not how this stuff works. This is an ongoing thing that you do to improve yourself over time. So don't have an expectation of my emotions and my self-worth and value, how I see things is gonna improve overnight. You got to put in work. Everything is work. You got to get work on yourself, improving yourself, work on loving yourself.
And when you're more self-aware, and you know what you like. Now I think it seems like we're all at the point that we know when this is happening, or when I'm triggered, or even before I get triggered, I know what I need. I know today was a rough day, so therefore this is what I need. You get to the point where instead of pointing your finger at somebody, because like you said, you can't control anybody, right? You get to the point where you feel better because you know how to control yourself, and you know what you need to calm down.
Yep.
Tam, so I'll say this, like when you said like the deep breathing and the meditation, like it's a learned skill and it takes time. The meditation and deep breathing and like really connecting with nature and connecting with myself, that's something that I started within that relationship. That was 3 years ago. I still feel like I'm just scratching the surface. Like literally it's like a scratch off. You know how like you get a scratch off and you just scratch it just by accident and you can kind of see the number, but not fully. Like that's what I feel like. And it's been some years. Now, of course, I've been praying all my life. I've been having conversations with my creator all my life, but to have a deep connection, that's something new. And like you said, it takes practice, it takes time, it takes dedication. Like I'm still learning. It does not happen overnight. It is something that got me through. It's something that helped me to heal, but I'm still working on it. Like it's a daily practice. It's literally not something that you really master. Like you have to practice every day. Like yoga, you practice every day. It's not something that you necessarily do. It's something that you practice. Yeah. So like you don't learn it overnight.
I had to tell my vets, I used to do a lot of PTSD groups. And even my husband had PTSD. And even with myself, like I said, I just found out I have PTSD. And then so to even to get me there, and the counselor said, "Should we do meditation?" I said, I can't. And like a lot of people, they can't slow their mind down slow enough to calm themselves down so they can get into that meditation or so they can do that deep breathing. And so sometimes you have to do something else to kind of bring you down to get to that point. But still, you have to practice this. Not, I tell my husband, I was like, this deep breathing is not going to help you because you did it twice in your life. It's not like it's like a long process. But I know I'm not even there with the deep breathing and meditation. I can't slow down because I'm an on and off. If I slow down slow enough, I'm falling asleep. So that's just it. And then when I get up, I'm up and I go. So anyway, so we're going to close it out. Aaron and Sheshu, I want you guys to tell what you have going on, your Sexy as She and your Mended Families, and talk a little bit more about your book. So whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'll go. I think my thing is a little bit shorter. Sheshu has a lot more going on, but so Sexy as She is a women's based platform. We are a platform that is geared to encourage, inspire, empower our fellow women. We have open conversations with each other. We want to be open and honest with one another. We want to let everybody know that you can go through things, you can experience life, you can have ups and downs, you can go through your dark places. You know, you can do all of these things, but still feel beautiful, still feel sexy. Nothing is new. Everybody has gone through things. You are not alone. And there are support. There are people that are willing to be your tribe and go through it with you and still encourage and empower you. We also do lives every other Wednesday, similar conversations to what we are doing right now. And we have events. We normally do those closer to the spring and summer months, but we have monthly events as well to kind of build sisterhood and build a tribe and, encourage and empower each other.
Your events are where? What state?
Say that again.
Your events are where in what state?
Oh, because you are in Texas. I'm sorry.
Right. And
So
Sheshu's
I am
in Florida.
we are located in Dayton, Ohio. And like I said, during the spring and summer months, we do once a month events, whether that's a paint and sip or, just different type of social gatherings to where we can, kind of meet each other.
And so one platform is on Facebook. I'm Divorced Now What? That started in 2015, and that's just a platform for anyone, male or female. I don't know. People just go on there, and I just post stuff whenever I post it. It could be every day. I see stuff, I post it, of how I'm feeling, and just stuff that's just real. And people connect to it because people are going through a lot. And when they see something that they can connect to, it's a good feeling. And if they write me and ask me for advice or tools, strategies, I just say, hey, listen, this is what helped me. And another one is our nonprofit, Men Families Corporation. We have a club, Men Families Club, which is also for the kids at our school. But basically, it's just mending, engaging, nourishing, dedicated families and individuals. I always put that in there. And we have events for each season, whether it just be fundraisers, like we have a virtual 5K that we do. And we do some summer giveaway. We have a summer giveaway. We had a toy drive. But it's all for people. People come to us for people that are going through some very traumatic things, and whether they need therapy, we'll send a resource. And that's just what we do, because the point is that we want people to know that you can have a dark time, you can come out of that dark time, you can have a dark time again, but there are people in the community that are here for you, and we're not on an island by ourselves. So please feel free to email, to follow us on social media, to send a message. If we can do it, we'll do it. If we can't, we'll send you to somebody that can.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Please stay on. As everybody that's watching, thank you for watching another episode of It's Okay with Tam Tam. Hopefully someone has gotten something out of this. Please share this, because you never know who needs to hear this. You can like this page, It's Okay with Tam Tam, on Facebook. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, It's Okay with Tam Tam. You guys have a wonderful evening.